All right, so for this episode, I just want to say that we finally have a community chat. It's been a while, but I do have a listener email that I'm going to read. Somebody sent something in to the Take a Break podcast at gmail.com email. But there is a funny story behind that. So stay tuned for that. This is going to be a great episode. At least I hope so. All I know is that I am ready to take a break. And with that said, let's go ahead and welcome back to the Take a Break podcast exclusively here on the YouTubes. I'm your host, KC, and this is the relaxing, informative, and often random podcast, like this episode, where we take a break from the hectic pace of life to just spend some time together and also discuss various topics from mundane subjects to thought-provoking ideas. And welcome to the Blackjack episode 21. And today we are talking about my channel, I guess. I have a new series I'm planning on doing. We're going to talk about talk about my channel, some channel updates, plans for the channel. So in translation, what that means is I didn't really have a topic for this episode, and I just thought about that last minute. So this is going to be a very random episode. It really is, and I'll talk more about that in the intro. But for those of you that don't know, podcast format is simple. We have the intro, topic of the day, and then community chat. Become part of the community chat. Send me your responses, questions, comments, requests, etc. via email only at takeabreakpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to skip around, if you want to go straight to the topic of the day, or you want to go straight to the community chat, or if you want to go straight to the intro, check out the description of this YouTube video. Because I post podcast timing and timestamps. So there you go. We are here for episode 21. And yeah, how are you? How are you? I am exhausted. Not exhausted. Exhausted. EX, not EGG. This is being recorded on Saturday, May 13th, 2017. It is 11:24 a.m. And welcome. This is, I don't even know where to start. I'll be honest, I'm probably the most unprepared for this specific episode than most. I really don't have a topic, and I didn't want to do what I've been up to. I know that's kind of, for those of you that don't know, I have a series called What I've Been Up To. That's kind of my go-to topic if I don't have a real topic of the day. I just didn't want to do one of those. I said, you know what, let me leave that for the intro. I do have a lot that I want to talk about about the channel, so maybe we'll just talk about that. So this is going to be a very random episode because the topic of the day is not really a topic. I just kind of thought about it, but I do want to record a podcast. It's been a while, and yes, it has been a while. It has really been a while. So I have a lot to talk about with the channel, but let's leave that for the topic of the day. So in this intro, I'm going to cheat a little bit, actually. I don't have any notes, but for those of you that are loyal Take a Break podcast listeners, you know that I have a calendar. It's a monthly calendar. It's not like a day-to-day calendar, so it's kind of the whole month spread on one page. And I write little notes about appointments that I have, events I'm going to, but I also write little notes about what I did that day. So my calendar is almost like a diary, kind of. And what I'm going to do for the intro is I'm literally just going to look at what I did from the last time I recorded to now. And hopefully that will take us on some interesting tangents and side notes. So if you're a fan of the more random podcast episodes, if you kind of like the episodes where I just ramble about nothing and everything, this will be a good episode for you. So yeah, this is it. Let's just see. I'm not going to talk about anything about the channel again. I'm going to leave that for the topic of the day. But let's just see here. So I actually posted my last episode on April 29th, which is a Saturday. But I actually recorded that on Monday, April 24th. So I guess it's been, okay, so that's the 24th. That's 1 week, 2 weeks. It's been almost 3 weeks, actually. Like 2 days short of 3 weeks, but it's been 3 weeks since I recorded an episode. So I know I mentioned in episode 20 that I had a big family event coming up, and it was going to be really busy, which is why, this one's going to be posted a little later than usual, but it definitely was. This is, you know what, people say they're busy all the time, even me. I say that too. Oh, I've been busy, but I have legitimately, for I think 7 days straight, have not had a break. I'm not complaining. All the events I went to were great. I saw a lot of family. A lot of people were in town. But me, I'm very introverted. I need my time alone. So don't get me wrong. If anyone is listening to this and they know me personally, I loved seeing you. It was a great 7 days. But it was just so busy every single day. I had to do something. And for me, I get exhausted out of that. If I have a couple of days like that, that pretty much wears me out. So like pretty much a week of that is just it's game over for KC. That's for sure. So yeah, let's just kind of take a look here. So yeah, it's literally been like sleep, wake up, go to work. After work, I have an event. After that event, I go home, I crash, and rinse and repeat. But let's see. Just gonna look at some stuff here that I did. Oh no, sorry, my mistake. I actually recorded the last one on Tuesday, April 25th. So yeah, let's just go through the calendar. This is gonna be very random. So this intro, let's talk about what I've been up to. Let's just kind of talk about random topics. Let's see how long this will last for. Let's see what kind of crazy tangents we can go on today. All right, let's see here. I had Popeyes, actually. I had Popeyes since the last time I recorded a podcast. I haven't had Popeyes in a while, so for those of you that don't know, Popeyes is a fried chicken place like KFC. I was actually really disappointed because, I don't eat fast food often, at least by my definition. But I was just really hungry. It was after work. And I have quite a commute to go home, and I didn't want to drive all the way home and then make something to eat and then eat it. I couldn't wait. I just said, you know what? There's a Popeyes close by, literally right after work. I went to the Popeyes, and I ate. But I don't know. I was disappointed. I got like a 3-piece combo, so 3 pieces of chicken, spicy, but it was overcooked. It really was. The breading tastes pretty burnt. I had to like drench it in ketchup, and I love my ketchups. But yeah, it really was just, I don't know, and it was kind of unfortunate because I was really looking forward to this. I just wanted to really just take a break, but it was okay. I was still able to kind of just be on my own by myself and have a meal. I really like my time alone. Believe me, I'm happily married and I have a big family and I love seeing everyone. But I'm also very introverted. I still like just going to a fast food place or a food court and just having a meal and just quietly eating, So yeah, I also I live in Toronto, Canada. So I live in Toronto, and I did my taxes because they're due at the end of April. I finished up my taxes. I went to H&R Block, and they're pretty good. I don't really have much to complain about. And honestly, I don't. My taxes aren't crazy. I know there's some people that maybe they own their own business, they have several sources of income, they do this, they do that, they have boxes of receipts, and filing their taxes is a nightmare. They have income from different countries, but in full disclosure, my taxes are very simple. As you know, I work an office job. I have a few other things that I do here and there, but just pretty much, yeah, my taxes were pretty black and white, and it was good. So no complaints about that. But yeah, I don't know. Taxes is always stressful though. You just never know what you're going into, or what surprises await you. I don't know if I'm the only one, but yeah, and it's pretty depressing seeing how much taxes you actually pay out, each year. Um, but depressing is not quite the word, I guess, and I shouldn't use that word lightly. I know that's a serious word. I'll just say it's interesting. How about that? It's interesting how much tax you pay, especially in Canada. But you know what? I don't complain too much, because I actually love where I live. So we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get too political or anything. But yeah, and just looking at my calendar here, what else happened? So yeah, lots of family, especially in the first week of May, was starting to fly in. So we had a big event. I think I told you last week, and it was a wedding actually, and it was great. Kept me very busy. So I'm just trying to look here about some stuff I did. Went to Taco Bell. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I went to a VIP theater at Cineplex. Cineplex, for those of you that don't know, it's a movie theater brand. I think that's popular. I think that has it in the States too. I'm not sure, but anyways, you go to this VIP theater, and I've been to VIP before. I think this is my third time going. So you pay a little extra, and you get this VIP movie theater experience. The seats are bigger. You actually have a personal server. I'm not exaggerating. That actually serves you food while you're in the theater, and it's like actual food, like from a restaurant. It's like hot food that's prepared. You have a personal server. Your seats are big. You have this one little personal tray. But what I didn't know is that you can actually recline your seats. There's a button that you press and you can recline your seats almost as if you're lying down. And stupid me, this is my third time going, and I just discovered that now. So the first two times that I went to see a VIP theater, I didn't even know you can recline. So when I figured that out, I was like, what? Like, amazing. So, yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's that. So I liked it. I'm a fan of the VIP experience. I know some people say, "Oh, why are you paying extra? You can watch that same movie, and the movie's not changing. So why are you paying extra?" But you know what? I don't mind paying extra for experiences, especially makes it more fun. When you have your own, and it's usually quieter. Meaning, like, there's not like when we went to see. We saw The Circle, by the way, which was that movie was okay. But when we went, I think there was like 11 people in the theater or something. Like, so, yeah. Yeah, what else did I do since then? I got a haircut, and I was nervous. I was very nervous. I used to. It's kind of tragic, but well, not tragic, but a couple years ago, I think around 2010, I discovered like an amazing barber that like cut my hair exactly the way I wanted it to. And then he left that barber shop, and so I was left like just finding random barbers. So yeah, so literally for the past maybe 4 years, I just kind of go to random barbers. I would kind of stick to one for maybe a year, or just kind of. But right now, ever since I moved to Toronto, I've been kind of bouncing around, and I had to get my hair cut for the big wedding. And I was so nervous. I was like, because here's the thing, like I don't know if I'm the only one, but you just never really know how the cut is gonna turn out. Unless you go to the same barber. Sometimes it might be a little shorter than you'd like it. Sometimes they may make it a little longer than you like it. But you know what? Luckily, I got the haircut, and when I was finished, I looked at myself and I said, "Yeah, okay, this will do. This is fine." It's not perfect. I haven't had a perfect haircut since that barber that I used to go to. But yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it'll do. So I was like, okay, that's good. So. Um, Yeah, I got another oilant. Oilant. I combined the words order and soylent to get oilant. So, anyways, I got another order of soylent. I think I mentioned the last one. I've been drinking soylent drink now, and I'm hooked. I love it. So I subscribe to it. Me and my wife. I think we order. I think we're starting off with like 84 bottles a month. I'm pretty much drinking that exclusively for lunch and breakfast. I just had a Soylent for breakfast, and yeah, after this I'm gonna have it for lunch. It's a little pricey, but honestly, like it's debatable how nutritious it is. But for me, from what I read and research, it is a complete meal. So yeah, I like that, and man, it's just nonstop. I'm just looking at my calendar here. I've went to rehearsal dinners and packed for overnight trips. Saw lots of family. Got my suit dry cleaned. I rented a suit. Um, yeah, actually, and it was my wife's birthday as well. So, it's just been, and that was great too. Yeah, no, just a bunch of things that were happening. Sorry, I'm kind of like probably wondering like why am I kind of rambling? As I'm talking, I'm literally looking at my calendar trying to see anything that catches my attention. Um, oh, you know what? I have a family member who's vegan, and it was this family member's birthday, and I was responsible for getting a vegan cake. So that was pretty interesting. I got a vegan cheesecake. Now, obviously, cheese is not vegan, so it was a cheeseless cheesecake, but it tasted amazing, actually. Well, I wouldn't say amazing. It tasted good. It tasted great. In the sense that, like, if you were to close your eyes and just take a bite of the cheesecake, you would think it's cheese. So I don't know what's it made out of. Um, sorry, I'm thinking of something. Um, I really don't know what it's made out of, but yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was important. I got it at Whole Foods actually, and I'm kind of glad I called in. There was a part of me that's like, you know what? After work, I'm just gonna go by Whole Foods and grab a vegan cake, but they're frozen and they have to pull it out. So I'm glad I called ahead of time, so they were able to pull it out, and so we could enjoy it. And also, too, you have to put vegan icing, obviously, because you can't use normal icing. But they don't make that vegan icing every day. They don't prepare it every day, only if you ask for it. So if I were to go in after work, and I ended up going at Whole Foods at like 7:30, if I were to just go in after work and say, "Hey, can you put vegan icing to say happy birthday, so and so," they wouldn't have had the vegan icing. So I'm glad I called in. But that was interesting. A vegan cake, and actually the night before that, I went to a vegan restaurant as well. I've been to this restaurant before actually, but yeah, no, it's interesting. I have nothing against. I'm not vegan myself. I'm not even vegetarian, but I got nothing against vegans and vegetarianism. In fact, there's a part of me that's like, if I had the discipline, I probably would go vegan. To be honest, I like the idea of eating healthy. Well, actually, Soylent is vegan. Wait, is it? You know what? Hold on. Let me just look that up. Uh, Hold on. The reason I'm looking it up is I don't want anyone who's vegan saying, "Oh, okay, KC said Soylent is vegan," and then it's not. So I don't want to steer you wrong. Um, okay, let's just see here. What is this? Okay, I'm on the Soylent website. search. Let me just type in keyword vegan. Okay, let's see here. Vegan, yes. Okay, oh wait, that's the Soylent powder. Oh, Soylent drink. Okay, Soylent drink, vegan, yes. Okay. Now, I believe the earlier versions of Soylent was not vegan, but yeah, it looks like it now is. But yeah, Soylent drink is vegan. So hey, so technically, if I drink right now, I've been pretty much eating through drinking. But I'll just say eating because Soylent is real food. Go Soylent! But I've been eating Soylent for breakfast and lunch pretty much, and then I just kind of wing it for dinner. But so yeah, so if that's the case, then 2/3 of my diet is vegan. So yeah, I'm kind of a half vegan, I guess. But yeah, Soylent is vegan. But yeah, I got nothing against being vegan. You know, I know some people get really offended by it. I don't. But I'm not one myself. But yeah, but I do like the idea of just kind of eating clean. Um, although it's kind of funny, I say that as I like eat fast food and all this other stuff. But yeah, well, I'm definitely not going to be vegan today because I'm going to Red Lobster actually tonight. I got a couple of things we're doing tonight, and after me and my wife are having a nice date night um, at Red Lobster. Yeah, so that's kind of what the plan for today. I'm going to eat. I love Red Lobster. I'm going to get. I don't know, but probably I know they have this like shrimp trio. I'll see if they have any specials when I get there. But yeah, I'm going to get this shrimp trio, and yeah, that should be good. And it's Mother's Day in 2 days as well. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and mothers to be. And yeah, and happy birthday to my mom. She's listening to this. I doubt it because no one knows I do this podcast. As I mentioned that before, this is kind of my own little secret world, I guess. But it's out there, so anyone can discover me. But I don't advertise it. So yeah, so I guess you're in that secret part of YouTube. But yeah, Red Lobster. I love Red Lobster. Actually, I think I mentioned Red Lobster in one of my previous episodes. That was way back. Oh my goodness, that was like episode 4 or 5. Wow, the podcast really changed since then. Very very different. But yeah, I went to a lot of restaurants, sushi places. The Keg, which is a steak place. Drank lots of Soylent. Oh, this is actually pretty interesting. So I won't say the name of the company because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But I went to kind of like a sports store, like a sports retail store, and I bought actually a Fitbit, which is a fitness watch for my wife. And we also bought some accessories. I was with some other family members. And this is pretty cool. I kind of, I just asked, but I asked if I can actually get a discount. And this is one of those like franchise retail places. So my hopes were pretty low, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, maybe they could do something. It doesn't hurt to ask. So I literally just told the guy that was helping us, I said, hey, listen, we're buying this Fitbit watch, which is like $200. We're buying some accessories and we're spending like $300. Can you give us a discount? And he said, no. And then he said, well, actually, wait, let me talk to my manager. So he goes, he talks to his manager, he comes back and he says, you know what, we're going to override and give you 10% off. And I was like, whoa. In my head, I was like, whoa, really? That's amazing. But in person, I played it cool. I was like, okay, thank you. But yeah, 10% off just for asking. Isn't that amazing? So you know what? That's kind of a little life lesson, little negotiating practice. I'm not a negotiator. I'm not into that at all. But yeah, just ask. Who knows? So if you're ever at, even if it's kind of like a franchise store, just ask for a discount. See what happens. The worst they can say is no. But I was surprised. So I was like, huh. If you ask for a discount, you actually get it. So there you go. I guess, ask and you shall receive, right? As they say. But yeah. Yeah, no, so that was good. I'm thinking of getting one myself. I had a Fitbit, but it broke actually. I have one of the older ones. I think I had the charge, but the band broke. Um, but the new ones now you can replace the band. So my actual Fitbit is fine. Like it works. Functionally it works, but the band is broken and the watch is attached to the band, so I can't use it anymore. But the new Fitbits, you can actually exchange the band. So if the band breaks, that's okay. Just get a new band. It's the actual device that's what counts. Um, but yeah, that was that with that. Uh, that was that with that. Wow, what a saying! What a saying! Look at this random ramblings. But yeah, oh, it's just been so busy. I'm just looking at my calendar here. You know what? What's kind of good is I didn't know a lot of these events were happening. I just kind of took it one day at a time. But the introvert in me is like, I knew this week's coming up would be just very busy. Um, so the introvert in me was like, okay, can I survive this? and well, I did, which was good. And again, if anyone's listening to this and they know me, I love spending time with you. I am so glad these weeks was one of the best weeks of my life. In fact, this wedding was one of the best weddings, if not the best that I've ever been to. It was great. The food was great. The company was great. I had had some drinks, which was nice. Just it was perfect. It really was amazing wedding. But I'm introverted. I'm introverted. I yeah, well, I didn't want to get into introvert versus extrovert, but somebody phrased it like this: the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. And I actually like this definition. So actually, let me just backtrack a bit. But you know, kind of the stereotypical definition of an introvert is someone that doesn't like people. An introvert does not like people. They don't like going out. They want to be by themselves. Uh, and I never really felt that way. I always knew I was introverted, but like I don't hate people. I can be very social, and people always say you're great with talking to people. Everybody likes you. I guess I don't know, but so I don't like that definition that introverts don't like people because I love people. Um, but someone once told me that being an introvert means that you get your energy from being alone. It doesn't mean that you don't like going out. It doesn't mean that you don't like seeing people, but you get your energy by being alone. That's how you recharge. And extroverts get their energy by being around people, um, by you know, by going to events. That's how they get their energy. So, for example, an introvert who's really exhausted after a long day at work, what they want to do is they just want to go home and do nothing. That to an introvert is like when you're exhausted is a perfect night. But to an extrovert, it's like, you know what? I had a long day at work. Guys, let's gather the troops. Let's all just hit the town. Just like, let's just get like 10 of our friends and let's just hit the town. Let's see a movie or go to a restaurant. Let's stay up all night and talk in a coffee shop. Like that to me sounds exhausting. Yes, that sounds fun, but I wouldn't want to do that when I'm exhausted. So vice versa, an extrovert likes their time alone, but they enjoy the company of people. That's what gives them energy. That's what gets them going. And so I love that definition. I can agree with that perfectly. So for me, as an introvert, as I'm going to these events, yes, I'm having fun. Yes, I'm enjoying it. But my energy and my being is getting depleted, I guess. If you think about it, like a fighting game, like video games like Street Fighter, how you have like a life bar, and every time you get hit, that life bar gets lower and lower until you're like knocked out. As an introvert, that's kind of what I feel when I go to these events, is that every time I go to these events, believe me, I love it. I'm having a good time, but my life bar gets less and less. I come home from these events exhausted, um, and not physically, maybe not even physically, but just kind of mentally about who I am. And so like I just loved like today where it's just okay, it's just me and my wife. It's just back to just doing this. So which is um yeah, which is which is good. And I just wish other introverts knew that. I'm not speaking at any particular person, and I'm not angry at anyone. This is just kind of in general. So if you know me personally and you're listening to this, don't worry, it's not about you. I'm not mad. But just in general, I think people that are extrovert kind of almost get upset, I think, sometimes. And again, this isn't at anyone particular, this is just in general to the world. That when extroverts don't want to go out, it's like, hey, come with us to the movie. It's like, no, it's like, oh my goodness, this person's lazy. They don't want to see anyone. What are they doing? They're not building relationships. But to an introverted person, what you have to understand is that's how they recharge. If they have a free night and they just want to stay home, to interfere with that is like, it's almost like telling someone, were you planning on sleeping tonight? And they say, yes, I am. Well, no, don't sleep tonight. Stay up with me. And they say, no, I don't want to. I'm going to sleep. Oh, you're selfish. It's like, no, but that person needs sleep. People need sleep. Vice versa, an introvert needs time alone. So if you're extroverted and you have any introverted friends and they kind of withdraw for a couple days, maybe even a couple of weeks, or they say no to a lot of events, be a little easy on them. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they're even lazy. It's just that as an introvert, and they're not scared either. It's just that they just literally need their time alone. That's how we get our energy back. That's how we recharge. So yeah, go easy on them. Us introverts, it's tough. It's tough. It really is. So, but it's good, I guess, as well. But yeah, no, it's good. And speaking of time alone, it looks like I'm just looking at my calendar here for the future. The next couple of weeks seems, knock on wood, seems pretty quiet. The next couple of weeks seems pretty quiet, which is good. So I think we'll be able to get some regular episodes for the next couple of weeks. Although June, I'm traveling in June, and at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I have a little weekend trip. But yeah, those are okay. I'll be able to record a podcast at night after work or something. So, actually, this is nice that I'm recording on a weekend. My last ones that I've recorded have all been at night, and I've needed coffee and I was half awake. But this is actually kind of nice. It's the beginning of the day. Midday. Look, I'm looking outside my beautiful balcony here. The sun is shining. I can see the CN Tower. I'm not falling asleep, which is good. Although I've been up since, what time did I wake up? 6:15, I think. And for those of you that don't know, I don't like to sleep in, so that was perfect. I actually didn't alarm, believe it or not. I went to bed last night and I said, you know what? It's been a crazy couple of weeks, just no alarm. I'm going to wake up when I wake up. And sure enough, I woke up at 6:15. Again, when you work and you're waking up at like 6 every single day, like Monday you wake up at 6, Tuesday you wake up at 6, Wednesday you wake up at 6, Thursday you wake up at 6, Friday you wake up at 6. When it comes to today, Saturday, guess what? Guess what your body's going to do naturally? It's going to wake up at 6. And so it was good. But the difference, though, which is what I love about weekends, is usually when it's a work day, you wake up at 6 and then you kind of get your day going, whatever. When it's the weekend, what I do like to do is, even though I woke up at 6:15, I woke up, but I didn't go back to sleep, but I stayed in bed and, you can relax, listen to some music, watch some YouTube videos. In this case, I actually watched The Office. It's a TV show, one of my favorite shows, actually. I love The Office. And I didn't do a full run of the series again, but I started from season 8, and I watched the last 2 episodes, and I just finished the last episode of the whole series. It only goes up to season 9 just this morning. So I woke up at 6:15, and I finished watching The Office, and I watched the last episode again, and yeah, it really is. The last episode was great. It wasn't so much funny, but it was very sentimental. I guess you definitely get the feels, I guess. But yeah, if you're looking for kind of one last funny Office episode, you definitely won't get it in the last episode of The Office. But what you will get is a very sentimental journey. It's a very reflective, introspective episode, I guess, uh, which was great. I think it was a great way to end The Office. Probably the only thing I didn't like, uh, actually, well, I don't want to say it. It's a spoiler. So, um, should I say it? I don't know. Anyways, I'll just say this. I wanted, and if anyone's curious, just message me privately. The last episode, I wanted more of one character. There was one character in there that I wanted more of in the last episode, and I didn't get that. So, but it's small. Now we're just nitpicking, but I love that. I love that series. It is hilarious. It's awesome. There's just some really funny moments in there, and the actual story is nice. I love how everything just kind of comes together. Obviously, the Jim Pam love story. So yeah, good stuff. Actually, here's a funny little tangent. I guess is when I was um, finishing up university. So this was like a decade ago, I guess. When I was finishing up university, I was still kind of wondering what I wanted to do, and it was around that time. I think it was 2007 when I started getting into The Office. I think it was only like the third season by then or something. Don't quote me on that, but I started really getting into The Office, and I wanted to work in an office just because of the show The Office. It looked so much fun working in an office, but the career path at that time was something different. It wasn't an office setting per se, like in the show The Office, but I actually applied to a for some more schooling, and I got in. Actually, I think it was for human resources, and I got in actually, but it was funny. I only applied to that program. It was just a backup. I didn't end up taking it, but I applied to that program. I think I got in. I believe I got in. I don't remember exactly, but I applied to this human resources program, and I got in. I'm glad I didn't get into it because I have no passion for human resources. I just chose that because I wanted to work in an office. But I I got in. But it's kind of funny that a show about The Office actually like almost changed my career path. But here's kind of the ironic twist: is after kind of like changing careers several times. And for those of you that know me personally, know that I've changed careers more than the seasons, I guess. But in kind of an ironic twist of fate, I now work in an office and I now have an office job. Uh, and yeah, I get you know what it's not as fun as the show The Office, I guess. Um, but yeah, I guess it could be. But I guess you just don't appreciate it because a lot of crazy stuff can happen at the office. Lots of office drama, I guess, um, that I guess is kind of humorous. But when you're kind of in it, you don't really think about it. But yeah, I've been working in offices for years now, and I don't know, just kind of mundane things that happen that kind of just really is, I don't know, kind of interesting, I guess. I'm just trying to actually, I don't know, well, here's an example. Like, not at the office job I have now, but a previous office job, there was um, we have a shared kitchen, obviously, right? So, and I think one of my coworkers had like cream for coffee, and they it was just for them, but they put it in there, and a couple days later, it was almost empty, and this person was upset, like, who's using my coffee cream? That's just for me and for other people, but people are using it without asking, and it turned into this whole kind of office drama. So I guess it is kind of like an episode of The Office, but it's those kind of things that, like, you know, kind of make it interesting, kind of office politics, I guess. Um, but you don't really notice it at the time because at the time you're just kind of working and you're just kind of in it. But yeah, but luckily, the office I'm in now, not too much craziness. Especially my kind of little department, I guess. It's a smaller company, and And yeah, and I share an office with people that are kind of more relaxed, I guess, which is pretty cool. We have Nerf guns in our office. Yes, I know the stereotypical, the stereotypical Nerf guns in the office. It's a classic, but yeah, my boss actually put a piece of paper. Um, he took a piece of paper, he drew like circles like a target, and he taped it on the wall. And we were just shooting at that in between work, just to kind of take our mind off things. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, yeah, it's funny. It's funny that like when you think of kind of younger companies, like startup companies. I don't work for a startup. I work for an established company, but when you think startup companies, you think a couple of young people in their 20s or early 30s, like me. I'm in my early 30s, as you know, and all they do is kind of play with Nerf guns and ping pong balls during the office hours, or they just play video games in the office. It's funny. That's kind of the stereotypical thing. And yeah, I guess we have Nerf guns at our office. That's one of the things we do, I guess. But but yeah, I've always wondered what it'd be like to work kind of for those startup companies. You know, although I do, I guess no, I definitely don't work for a startup company, but I do work for a smaller company, like relatively speaking. I don't know what your definition of a small company is, but I've worked for a medium-sized company. It's definitely not like a big company like what's a big company? I don't even know. Uh, like Samsung or Apple. It's not a big company like that. But yeah, no, we're. But yeah, I always wondered what it'd be like to those little startup offices. If it's stressful, like, do they actually, um, like, if you own a startup, you know, that might be interesting. But yeah, I wonder if those people work like the ones the offices are like the ping pong tables and they drink beer and all that stuff. Although I guess we kind of do that too. But I mean, like, yeah, I wonder if those offices, how much work they get done. Or maybe they don't even get to enjoy those times too much too. Because what, small companies, it's a lot of work. Because a lot of the times you're kind of uh, have multiple roles within a company. So if you're in a company and there's like 10 people versus a company with like 1,000 people, where like everyone's doing something very specific. If you're in a company, there's only say like 10 of you, you'll probably have to multitask and do a couple of odd jobs here and there for the company. So, but yeah, but I don't know. Maybe, or maybe don't work in an office. But I don't know. I did that. What episode? I don't even remember. I did that episode of working at home versus in the office, and I argued that I like working at the office. So yeah, I do like working at the office. I like it a lot better. But actually, you know what? I don't know if I mentioned this in that episode. I don't think I did. Maybe I'll mention it now. But um, I what was I gonna say? Oh my goodness, I almost forgot it. Oh yeah, productivity. If I mentioned this in that episode, I apologize. I guess I'm repeating myself. But you're more productive when you're in the office. Like, it's less distractions, and you just get more work done. At least I found that. Um, and I don't know. And plus, the novelty of working at home wears off pretty quickly. But anyways, I'm not gonna go into that. I did a whole episode on that. So if you're interested in my thoughts about working in an office versus working at home, yeah, you can go ahead and refer to that to that episode. So yeah, wow, this really is a random intro, eh? Just talking about a bunch of stuff, but I'm just really glad. I'm glad to kind of get back to the normal routine. I think most of the family that flew in for the wedding is now back at home. Um, Not that I'm happy that they left. That I wish they stayed longer, to be honest. But it feels like it's coming back to the normal routine. And even this, I'm recording a podcast again. It's been almost 3 weeks since I recorded, and let's take a look here. Let's see what else I can talk about. Yeah, lots of family, um, Lots of sushi, actually. I ate a lot of sushi. I love Japanese food. I love sushi. Yeah, we went to all you can eat sushi place. That was cool too. I don't know where you're from, whoever's listening to this, but we have all you can eat sushi places. And the place that I like to go to, it actually has an iPad with pictures of the different sushi and maki and items you can do. And you just basically touch the screen to order. It's pretty awesome. And it's all you can eat. So imagine, like, the way it works is imagine going to a restaurant where you order a dish, but or like you have a menu, but imagine you could order just as much as you want. So imagine going to a restaurant and saying, "Yeah, I'll take a steak." You eat the steak and you just go back. "Hey, can I see the menu again?" "I'll take another steak," and it's just one price. Although the difference, though, between say that and a buffet is with the all-you-can-eat sushi places is they discourage you from over ordering because it is made to order. It's not like a buffet where the food's already pre-cooked and you just take what you can. This one is it's like a restaurant. You have to order it, but if you have any leftover food, they'll actually charge you for that. So, you can't just go in and say, "Give me 1,000 pieces of salmon sashimi." They can do that for you, but whatever's left over, they're going to charge you. I think it's like $1 a piece or something. Actually, so in that sense, I do kind of get nervous ordering because I don't want to order too much. So kind of my strategy is whenever I order a round of sushi, like I order smaller portions. So round one, say it's just me and my wife, we might say, okay, let's order a couple of rolls, maybe some tempura and some sashimi. The food comes in, we eat it, we're still hungry, let's order another round, but let's just order a roll or two. It comes in, if we're still hungry, let's order a couple more rolls and maybe some tempura, I'm craving that again. Comes in, okay, I'm starting to get full, let's just order one more roll and whatever. As opposed to like, oh, you know what, let's order 8 rolls. Because by the time that comes, you might not even know if you'll be able to finish that, and then you got to charge extra. So if you go to like an all-you-can-eat sushi place, just kind of, parse it out a bit. And yeah. So little random advice, I guess, for a sushi place. Yeah, I don't know what else I can talk about. I guess we're all caught up. There you go. You now kind of know what Casey has done for the past couple of weeks. But another thing though is our apartment has has been neglected, I guess, kind of. Well, because we've been out every day, Uh, I miss kind of being a kid living at home because I guess you don't realize how much your parents clean, but like you just kind of take for granted that like the garbage gets taken away, the dishes get washed, things are tidied. When you're living on your own, like if you drink out of a mug and you just leave it there, that's it. You got to wash it. It's gonna stay there. And and especially if you're busy, especially like the past 2 weeks where it's just like you go to work, then you go home to an event, you come home, and you kind of like, things are kind of neglected. So I'm kind of glad that I can actually, tidy up the apartment. Actually, that's probably the plan today. After I record this, I'm probably going to listen to a podcast on my headphones and just, tidy up, catch up on tidying up, Yeah, I'm excited for that. I guess I know that sounds crazy, but I did a lot of guitar playing though this morning actually. Before I recorded this, I was jamming on the guitar and my bass. As you know from the last episode, I love music. But I've been craving drums actually. I haven't played drums in a while. I think I mentioned it in the last episode, but yeah, I've ever since I moved out, maybe like 4 years ago, I have my drums stored at my friend's place. So I actually don't play the drums, but I love drums. I really love it. But actually, just this morning, I was researching. There is a rental studio. It's a drum store, but they have like rehearsal rooms for like I think it's like $15 an hour. They have a drum kit and you can just practice drums as loud as you want. I think I might do that actually. I might, because here's the thing. Like I think I mentioned there, I was debating on buying a drum kit, an electronic drum kit that I could have here at the apartment. But you know what? Even that might be kind of loud, to be honest. So I'm thinking, you know what? And plus, like, it's not a real drum kit. Well, if there's any drummers out there, they're probably like, oh, how dare you say that my electronic drum kit is not a real drum kit? I do believe electronic drum kits are real drum kits, so don't worry, I'm with you on that. But what I mean is, it's not an acoustic kit, and you know, at the end of the day, it's I'm not getting the real thing. So you know what? I think a delicate. Why would I even use that adjective? A perfect balance of satisfying my need to play drums and living in an apartment is to go to a rehearsal studio maybe a couple times a month. Again, it's just $15, so it's not cheap, but it's not gonna break the bank. That's just like 15, $30 a month, and it'd be almost as if I have my own drum kit because practice makes perfect. It's been a while since I've played, so I really do need to put in the hours again to kind of. I don't want to lose my drumming skills, and I love it too. So yeah, maybe I do want to check out that place. So I'll keep you posted on that. That should be pretty. That should be pretty interesting. So yeah, can't wait for that. I'll see how that goes. And I went to the mall a lot too, which was. There's a mall by my work, pretty fancy one, and yeah, that's that. Yeah, yeah. There you go. It was pretty. I don't want to get too much into details about the wedding. I guess I could talk about that, but I'll kind of keep that personal. But weddings are great. I love going to weddings. Especially now that you're married. My wedding was a lot of work, and if anyone who's recently has gotten married, congratulations. But it's a lot of work. But I love going to other weddings now that I'm married because now I can just enjoy it. And because I found that when I went to weddings before I was married, there was kind of the stress. Well, not stress, but as you're enjoying that wedding, you're also thinking, this is going to be me one day. I'm going to have to go through this and put in all this work. It's going to be great, but but now when I go to weddings, I can just enjoy it. I'm just going to the wedding just to be there for the couple, to drink, to have fun, and I don't have to worry about, that's going to be me one day. I don't have to think about that. I've already done that, been there, done that. Now I can just enjoy all these weddings. Actually, it's funny. I was a groomsman for a wedding a couple of years ago, and I was already married at that time. And one of the other groomsmen, who was also married, said the same thing too. He said he liked going to weddings now that he's married because he knows the stress about it, and he gave a pretty interesting analogy, which I kind of agree with. But it's just an analogy, so don't take it to heart. But he said it's almost like being in line to get an injection, like a vaccination, and the needle's going to hurt. But after you get yours done, you're like relieved. And as you're kind of walking out, you're looking at everyone in line and you're kind of like, haha, you have to go through it now. But not me, I'm already done. So it's kind of the same thing. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's kind of the same thing with weddings. It's almost like haha, I'm already done. I'm good. I don't have to worry about this. But this is your day. You guys can go through the, all that stuff. So but it's great though. It's a lot of work putting on a wedding, depending what kind of size. But yeah, but yeah, it's. I know that's kind of a mean analogy, but it almost feels that way. After you get married, you're very happy, you're very grateful, but at the same time, you're like, yes, it's done. And then when you go to another wedding, you're like, I feel your pain, I feel your stress, but haha, you deal with that. I don't have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, no. So it's good. It's nice being on the other side. I love going to weddings. Being married, you can just enjoy it, and yeah, no, it was good. It was very good. That was a fun time. That was a really fun time. So, but yeah, that's 3 weeks. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say, really. So, yeah. What time is it? It's 12:16 p.m. When did we start recording this? I don't even remember. Has it been an hour? Have I just been rambling for an hour? Yeah, if I am, well, there you go. This is like just a random episode, I guess. But anyways, I think that's all I got really for the intro. Again, I'm not gonna say when I'm gonna post this, but oh, and I have a community chat too. Yeah, you know what? I better wrap this up because I do have a community chat. It's gonna be a shorter topic, I know that, but anyways, let's go ahead and let's formally end the intro and let us begin the topic of the day. So, welcome. My name is KC, and this is the Take a Break podcast for those of you that have kind of skipped straight to the topic of the day. I don't know why you would, because this topic is not really that interesting, but if you skip the intro just to go to this topic, if you're that interested in my channel, welcome to episode 21. The topic of the day is my channel, but more specifically is a new series that I've been thinking about doing. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. And that's pretty much it. That's the topic of the day. So as you know, my channel, let's begin. So as you know, my channel's kind of changed, more like aesthetically, more visually. As you may notice, on my last one, I put a new thumbnail. Again, I mentioned this before, but I find it so ironic that I do this episode. I think it was episode, 13 or 14. Don't quote me on that. But I did an episode on my minimalist podcast setup. And then ever since doing that, my show has become like I've added more things to it. So it's not so minimalist anymore, but I don't know. I'm getting value out of it. So I'm adding thumbnails. It's becoming more professional, I guess. Not that I'm doing this for a job, but I want this. This is a project. I want to be proud of what I'm doing. I want to make it as great as possible, So I'm still sticking to my roots. Nothing's changed. It's still intro, topic of the day, then community chat. I'm still the same KC. But, when I recorded those early episodes, and I don't mind saying it because, maybe I'll talk about it one day, but I was going through a tough time. That's why I called it the Take a Break podcast. I really just wanted to take a break from life. Life wasn't the greatest at the time. Now it is, and I'm a little more upbeat, and I have a little more energy to put into the podcast. Work is a lot better. A lot better. That's an understatement. Work is amazing now, actually. I have a lot more energy, so I'm ready to kind of invest more into this podcast. And yeah, I want to make it professional, so I'm going to add thumbnails. I'm not selling out. I'm not changing. This is still the relaxing, informative, and random podcast. And this will still be the flagship show, but I want to start a new series. I want to start a review series, actually, believe it or not. I want to start an audio-only review series. And this is kind of a temporary name, but I think it's going to stick. I want to call it KC Reviews. And it's kind of a play on words because it's reviews could be either a noun or a verb. So if it's a noun like KC Reviews, like these are KC Reviews, or you could think about it as a verb. Like, what is KC doing? KC Reviews. This is the video where KC reviews. But it's audio only as well. This is an audio only channel. So although there's a thumbnail, I'm not, well, at least I'm not planning to right now, but there's no video. It's not a review where you're going to see me talking to the camera. I think I mentioned this in passing. I used to have a YouTube channel, been there, done that. This is just an audio only. So even the review is going to be audio only. But the reason I got that is I actually enjoy giving my opinions on products, services, movies, whatever. I know I've reviewed movies in the past episodes. I've reviewed products in the past episodes. And maybe somebody who is coming to the channel, maybe they just see that title, say, I don't know, Blue Snowball Mic review or something. Well, they have to filter through a 1 hour podcast just to find that 2 or 3 minute review, which kind of isn't fair to them. The podcast is more like rambling anyways. So I figured, you know what? There's a part that's hey, why don't I take out those little reviews and post them as little short videos? But I thought, why don't I just make a new series, a review series, which is what I'm going to do. For example, I reviewed the movie The Boss Baby. So if there's someone who, for whatever reason, wait, did I review The Boss Baby? I did, right? Didn't I? let me just. Um, oh yeah, I did. Episode 20. I reviewed The Boss Baby. So if someone's searching around YouTube, or even if there's a a listener, yeah, actually a viewer, listener, one of my subscribers sees the description of an episode and he says, "Oh, Casey reviews the Boss Baby movie." There, there's no timestamp. There's timestamps for sections, but there's no timestamps for specific things that I talk about. So they're gonna have to filter through an hour-long video or podcast just to find this 2 or 3 minute review on the Boss Baby. So I figured, you know what? I'm actually gonna stop. I'm not gonna do thorough reviews. Maybe I might do it in passing, but I'm not gonna do so much reviews within the podcast. I'm gonna start a new series. I'm gonna start a new separate series on the channel. It's gonna be called Casey Reviews, and I'm gonna do those reviews as separate videos. So that's going to be a little different. And I actually think that one will be a little more mainstream, actually. Whereas the podcast, I know this is kind of a niche audience. You know, it's just some guy talking. And that's even the description of the podcast. This is just some guy talking about stuff. Like, look at this podcast. I spent like 45 minutes just talking about random topics. So not a lot of people want to listen to that, which is fine. Like, you know, I'm just doing this podcast for myself and for anyone who wants to listen. But I actually think I could bring a lot of value to people's lives to actually do legitimate reviews. So it's not rambling. It's going to be more scripted, more planned. I might even type out these reviews and record it. Again, this is audio only reviews. But for example, if I were to review The Boss Baby, I might do just a 4 to 5 minute review and just post that little video. So if anyone wants a review with The Boss Baby, they can just click on that video and they don't have to deal with an intro, a topic of the day. They don't have to filter through ramblings. So this channel is I'm gonna offer both of those. We're gonna have, the plan is this for 2017 is we're gonna have the Take a Break podcast still. That's the flagship program. That's gonna be an hour and a half long, just kind of, you know, ramblings and miscellaneous talk. We're still going to have the intro, the topic of the day, and then community chat. So that's where I read your feedback. And the topics of the day is going to be more kind of just topics, not so much reviews. Like, you'll never see the topic of the day, a review of a movie. Maybe like a commentary on a movie where I kind of analyze it. Maybe that could be a topic of the day. But in terms of just reviews, I'm going to have the podcast and I'm going to have Casey Reviews. And that's the series where I'm just going to review whatever I want. I already have a couple of things planned that I want to review. I want to review Soylent. I know I gave my first impressions, but I want to review that. I want to review maybe some movies. I want to review some products I use. Just kind of my thoughts. And it won't be necessarily so much just rambling and kind of off the top of my head. These are going to be more planned. These are going to be kind of shorter 5 to 10 minute videos. And they're going to be more scripted, more thought out. I want to give like people, if I'm going to do a review, I want to do it right, basically. So the Take a Break podcast is more just hit record and just kind of talk randomly. But Casey Reviews is going to be more thorough. And it was, believe it or not, it's actually Soylent that actually kind of got me thinking about this, because I was actually going to do a thorough review of Soylent, the drink. I know I did my first impressions last episode, but I wanted to give a review of it. But I thought, you know what? If somebody comes to this podcast episode and they wanted to see me talk about Soylent, unless I make it the topic of the day, which I probably wouldn't because it's not long enough to be a topic of the day, they're going to have to filter through this intro, which could be 45 minutes or half an hour. And they're going to be clicking around. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to be like, okay, why is KC talking about his day and what time he woke up and how his work was? I came here to see a Soylent review. So I thought, maybe I should just make a separate video on Soylent. And that's what kind of spurred that idea. So I guess there was two inspirations for this. One was Soylent. And one was, again, as I said, if somebody was looking at my old videos and wanted a review, they would have to skip through that. So if there's any subscribers listening to this, I hope you don't think I'm not like selling out or expanding or changing the channel. I'm really not. Again, this is the Take a Break podcast. The channel is about the podcast, but I am going to have that separate series called KC Reviews. So, and that's optional. You don't have to, uh, you know, you don't have to look at that if you don't want to, and vice versa. There may be some people that subscribe to the channel just for my reviews, but they don't listen to the podcast. Although, personally, I don't think that KC Reviews will bring in a lot of subscribers, maybe more views, but not subscribers, because the way that I think about it is I'm reviewing just random things. So I don't see anyone, for example, say like if I reviewed Soylent and someone's a fan of Soylent, I'm sure they would enjoy the video, but why would they subscribe? It's not like I'm going to review other Soylent related products. I won't. My next review might be something completely different. Or vice versa, if someone sees a movie review, I don't know if they would subscribe, because like if they like movie reviews, this is not a movie review channel. The first episode, I may have an episode of KC Reviews and it's a movie review, and the next one might be I don't know, might be a restaurant. So I don't know. I don't think it will actually garner subscribers, but I think it'll gain more views, and yeah. But yeah, so I just that's just something I want to do. So that's kind of my little goal for 2017. So for 2017, kind of my channel vision is to clean it up aesthetically. I think I finally finalized my YouTube thumbnail or avatar, I guess. I think a lot of people, if you're checking out my channel a lot, in the past couple of weeks I've changed it a lot, but I think I uploaded a new one just this morning, actually. I really like that one. I like my channel art, and I like the thumbnails now. The thumbnails look pretty awesome. At least to me, they look pretty good. So I'm gonna keep these thumbnails as it is, and I'm gonna keep the thumbnails as they are, and so in terms of the look, the channel will be good. And then in terms of the content, 2017, we're going to keep the podcast going. You're going to get a new episode, let's just say every 2 weeks now. I think last time I said like every 10 days or a week and a half. You know what? Let's just say 2 weeks. Just in general, you'll get a podcast about every 2 weeks. Maybe once a week, maybe once every 3 weeks. But just pretty much you'll get a podcast every 2 weeks. But you'll get these reviews spliced in the schedule. So actually, do you know what? Maybe you might actually get a video every week. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. But yeah, maybe I'll do 1 week. It'll be like a 3-minute review. The next week it'll be a full-blown podcast episode. I don't know, but there you go. There you go. That's the goal for. I was actually also thinking of doing short story audiobooks, but yeah, now we're just kind of getting crazy. But yeah, that's kind of the topic of the day. That was a really short topic of the day, I think, but that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to say that I have this new series, KC Reviews, and there you go. It is what it is, and that's it. Wow, you know what's funny? It's not late at night, but I'm actually starting to get tired a little bit. It is 12:30, I guess. I don't know when I started this. I think I've been talking for about an hour. So yeah, and it's kind of lunchtime. I'm kind of hungry. So I'm debating whether I should grab a Soylent right now, kind of refuel, but I'm looking at it right now. So, but anyways, no, it's okay. I'll just drink that after. But yeah, I had a Soylent for breakfast. I'm gonna have another Soylent right after this. So, but anyways, yeah, I think that's it for the topic of the day, believe it or not. So let's go ahead and formally end the topic of the day. And let us begin the community chat. And I'm so excited. It's been so long. I feel like it's been like a month or more since I've had a community chat. So I mentioned very early on in the intro that, there's a story behind this one. And there is. So here we go. So I don't know if this counts as like cheating. I don't know, not even cheating. But so I did get a listener email. So it's not a YouTube comment. It's actually an email. Somebody emailed to takeabreakpodcast@gmail.com. And actually, maybe before we get into the letter, the community chat is where I read your feedback, whether you have any responses or questions, requests, whatever. The community chat is where I respond to it. Not just online, not just by replying to your comment or writing you back, but you actually can hear my voice and you can actually hear me reply. Um, so this is from Mrs. KC. Yes, this is from my wife. And she's written in before. I think she was in the very first community chat. And so I don't know if it's cheating, but this is someone I know. And I actually asked my wife to write in. But not because I wanted a community chat. So here's kind of the story. So it was a couple weeks ago. And we were driving from Mississauga, which is a nearby city in Toronto, back home to Toronto. And wait, were we coming from Mississauga? I don't even remember. It's been so crazy. And I remember sometimes we play music as we drive home. But my wife said, let's just listen to something more relaxing. And then I kind of joked, hey, let's listen to my podcast. She's like, let's do it. So we listened to the episode about restaurants, where I talked about the best practices for restaurants. And I used my podcast timing. We skipped straight to the topic of the day. And believe it or not, we drove home and we both listened to my episode about restaurant best practices. And she got a kick out of it. She really enjoyed it, but she had some thoughts as well. And she said, you know what? I have some things that I like about restaurants that I want to say too. And she started telling me, and I kind of joked, half joking, but I was serious. I said, actually, do you know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't you just write in? Write in, respond. You've listened to the episode. Now you have a response. How about you just write me an email? And she did. And there you go. So I didn't ask her to write randomly. So it wasn't like I just said, hey, listen, I need a community chat. Write me something. It wasn't one of those. There was actually a purpose to this. We actually listened to an episode together. She had some thoughts, and so she wrote in. So yeah, and I did not pre-screen this email. So I hope there's nothing too crazy in this. So to my wife, if you're listening to this, I hope this is a good email. There's nothing crazy in it. But anyways, here we go. Community chat. I'm going to read a listener email. This is from my wife, Mrs. KC. So thank you very much to her for writing in. And yeah, I'm gonna read it, then I'm gonna respond. So let's check it out. Okay, so this is from Mrs. KC, and she writes, quote, "Hello, KC. Really enjoyed your episode on restaurant practices, and wanted to write in with some thoughts that came to mind while listening to this podcast. First of all, I do agree with your expectations when visiting a restaurant, as those are some of the things I look for too when I eat out, and I have a few more to add to that list. When I visit restaurants, I pay close attention to the condition of their washrooms because it says a lot to me about their overall level of cleanliness. I've seen washrooms that are poorly maintained, not maintained regularly, dirty, and low in toilet paper. When I see this, I start questioning how clean the staff are when it comes to handling our food, and start wondering if I'm dealing with a bunch of poppycock sloppy servers. On the plus side, I've been to other places where the washrooms are immaculate, clean and shiny, are fully equipped, and right away, I know those restaurants really take pride in their business to the point where they work hard to present themselves well with their overall physical appearance, which includes the upkeep of their washroom." End quote. Okay, I'm going to interject. I'll just address that first. So thanks for for writing in. And you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yes, the washrooms. I should have mentioned that. I enjoy a really clean washroom, and you're right. That's one of the things I forgot to mention. Washrooms should always be clean, well stocked. You know what? There's nothing more unattractive than a dirty washroom when you go to a restaurant. And believe me, especially when you go to bars and pubs, some of the washrooms are very dingy. You have to go through like 5 flights of stairs into some like basement with pipes leaking and whatever. But when you go to a restaurant, a nice one, and the washroom is really nice and it's like high quality everything, it really does make it feel like a good experience. Actually, it's funny, speaking of restaurants, a couple weeks ago we were at a place and we kind of joked that the washrooms, there was like paper towels in it, but the paper towels was so thick, it was almost like a towel, and it was great. And we kind of joked, wow, these towels are, these paper towels are like towels. But yeah, like it makes it feel really special. So yes, thank you. And Poppy got sloppy. I'm kind of laughing because that's a Seinfeld reference. If anyone is a Seinfeld fan, you know what that is. So there you go. But yes, perfect. That is great. I didn't even think about the washrooms. That's amazing. So thank you, Mrs. KC, for that. Anyways, I'm going to stop. Let's continue reading. So she continues, quote, "Also, I am very observant to the way servers and staff members of a restaurant conduct themselves in public, particularly to the way they interact with one another. I find it very rude and unprofessional if a restaurant business allows staff members to openly berate or make negative comments at other staff members in front of the customers. Yes, I understand that having issues between fellow staff members is common, but all I'm saying that if you, as a staff member, have an issue with your fellow coworker, pull him or her aside and address that matter privately. The whole world does not need to know about your internal problems. Third, this is probably not a big deal compared to the first two. But I personally am very picky with how my plates and cutlery are washed and cleaned at home. So when I go to a restaurant, I also check the cutlery on our table and make sure that it was cleaned properly before starting to eat off it. Believe it or not, in the past, I've had to request another fork and knife because I would find traces of dirt or food particles that were not thoroughly cleaned. I also like it when servers offer you complimentary drinks or food items on the house to compensate for a mistake they made, or if, let's say, service was exceptionally slow because they are having a busy day. This gesture really shows the customer that they care. Keep up the good work with your podcast." There's 3 exclamation marks there, Mrs. KC, end quote. Yeah, that's great too. I didn't think about that. First of all, thank you. I will keep up the good work. And yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's always a good practice too. Don't fight in front of customers. And yeah, keep your cutlery clean. I know what she means. Sometimes we've gone to places and the dishes aren't exactly the most clean. But yeah, no, that's those are very good. Those are very good practices. So yes, thank you for that, and that's it. That's all we got for the community chat. So thank you so much for writing in. We have a community chat, thank goodness. So, but let's keep the party going. If you have anything to say to me, please make it part of the community chat. Send me an email, takeabreakpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can also write in the comments as well. So that's also greatly appreciated. And you know what? Maybe when I have KC reviews and people are commenting on it, I will. I might address it in the podcast. So we'll see. So anyways, yeah, that's it for the community chat. I guess you have a little bit of an outro here. I wanted to mention this actually. I wanted to mention this in the intro. I'm actually playing around. I know the idea of this podcast is kind of I sit down and I just talk for like an hour, which is what I do. But it's also exhausting. As you can tell, I'm kind of fading fast. But I'm actually thinking of recording the topic of the day separately. So I recorded the intro and the community chat in one sitting, but I recorded the topic of the day separately because really the topic of the day is kind of not really, it doesn't, the topic of the day is really just kind of a standalone 20, 30 minutes kind of monologue, I guess. It's really standalone that can actually be inserted in any episode. I'm thinking of just kind of recording topics of the day, just kind of keeping it on a backlog, and then I can just insert it onto different episodes. So, and I'm also hoping by that is like my endurance of how long I can speak will grow. So right now episodes are an hour and a half, and a lot of times by the time I get to the topic of the day, I'm tired. Like look at the last one about instruments. I actually wanted to say a lot more, but I was exhausted. By the time I got recording the topic of the day about how to play instruments, I was already pretty exhausted. I actually wanted to talk a lot more about that. So I figured, you know what? If I were, if I had recorded that topic of the day about how to play instruments separately, I probably could have talked for a lot longer because I would have had my full energy. So that's another thing I'm kind of playing around with. But for now, kind of like this, this is just done in one sitting, one take with very little cuts, unless I got to take a quick break here or there. Uh, but yeah, there you go. That's it. It's I'm tired, and I got a big day. Like I had a relaxing one though. So I got that Red Lobster date. I'm off to do some other stuff first. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's it. We did it. We did it. Community chat. We got the intro. We got the topic of the day. We did it. It's episode 21. And again, I don't know when this is going to be posted. I'm not going to put pressure on myself like I used to. But all I know is that we are done. This is it. We did it. So yes, I'm going to Minion vacuum cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. And I just want to say thanks for taking a break to listen to this podcast. This is KC saying take care and stay well.